Hello and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Pavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to talk about geopolitics. Three important countries, of course, we have on one end our country India, we have USA, and then we have Russia here. What's going on between these three countries? We are going to talk about it in detail. But before that, let me tell you that Navratri sales are on and up to 50% discount is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. Make the most out of it. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my FB page and Twitter handle. Now, US President Donald Trump recently he said this thing that India will soon find out, right? Sooner than you think. India will find out sooner than you think. So this is a sort of threat that is coming from USA, and this threat is coming because of this agreement between India and Russia that we are going to purchase S-400 missile defense system from Russia. Vladimir Putin was here in our country. We talked about this current affair in PIB a couple of days ago, remember? Now, when this deal was first highlighted, when the talks regarding this deal were in air at that point of time, USA came out with this CAATSA. And earlier on, it was said that this will be applicable on India. Then later on, we got a small update that India will be exempted from CAATSA. Then later on, again, USA came out and said that we have to be a bit careful. And now finally, we have inked this deal, and USA is saying that sooner than you think, you will find out what's going to happen with you. So it's a question. We don't know. Time will only tell whether sanctions will be applied on India or not. But one thing is clear, that this issue is going to stay. It's not going to go away that easily. It's going to stay with us for a bit of time now. Now, the thing is that we cannot ignore Russia. Because if we talk about Soviet Union, Russia was known as Soviet Union before, 1991. It was Soviet Union, and then later on, there was this fall of USSR, and then came a new country, and with it many other countries as well took birth. So Russia. So basically the genes and DNAs are more likely same. So Soviet Union or Russia has been a dependable source of India's security policy, because if we go through this infographic here, we find that between these 4 years, 2013 to 2017, 62% of our defense items came from Russia, 11% from Israel, and just 15% from USA. So if USA wants to swap these figures, if they expect that we get 60-70% items from them and just a little bit of items or no items from Russia, then that's not going to happen, because as I told you, if we go back in the history of these two countries, bilateral relationship history between India and Russia, then we find that Russia has always been there for us, and not only just as a supplier of defense products, it has also tried its best to align its foreign policy as per India's regional policy. So we get this flexibility with Russia. We used to get this flexibility with Russia, and even during this meeting as well, Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin has declared this thing that Russia and India are, the friendship that we have is, you cannot match it. You cannot find this sort of friendship anywhere in the world when it comes to bilateral relationship between any two countries. Now, if we go back in the past, then we find that Russia was not having that good friendly relationship with China and Pakistan. Things are a bit different now. See what happened back in 2013 or 2014, if I'm not wrong. This Crimean portion of Ukraine was annexed by Russia. So sanctions were applied on Russia by EU as well as USA. USA is an arch rival of Russia, so it will always be there. Whenever something bad has to be done to Russia, then USA will, of course, step in. So EU as well as USA, they applied the sanctions, or they enforced the sanctions on Russia. So China was the next best option for Russia for its oil and natural gas and other natural resources supply, and China is a hungry country for all these things, so it was ready to go ahead. So since then, we have seen a new sort of thaw or new warmth in relationship between Moscow and Beijing. The other thing is, from last couple of years, we are tilting a little bit towards USA, and because of this thing, Russia started tilting a little bit towards Pakistan as well to keep a fine balance. Every country, they do this thing, right? They will, of course, what do we say? They will realign their strategy as well as their weight as per the realities that are taking place in geopolitical world. So because we are tilted from past couple of years, our relationship with USA is getting a bit stronger, a bit more warmer, and because of this thing, Russia is tilting towards Pakistan, and because of this thing, we have seen a couple of military exercises taking place. But then as well, Russia is respecting India because an exercise was going to take place in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and India was not happy with this thing. So finally, it was changed. So it's not that Russia is being too tight or too strict on India. The other thing is, see, when we compare our national power with China, then we are a bit lagging behind, and it's very urgent for India to keep, to match up with China. Of course, China has this deep pocket, so we are never going to. At present, we cannot match China, but we need items on urgent basis, and we cannot wait for America. The other negative thing about America is that America will always, give emphasis to its own interest, and it will ignore interest of its partner. And same thing happens with India and USA's relationship, because if you go back in the past, back in 1980s, USA was trying to, it was speaking a different type of language, or it was, its gestures were different. It was asking us to get rid of this Soviet Union and don't rely on this Soviet Union and rely on them. And USA was saying that they are ready to supply this technology to us. They are ready to do this technology transfer, and an MOU was also signed between these two countries back in 1984. But USA was very well aware about this thing, that it cannot match Soviet terms and conditions because they give us credit, and things are relatively cheaper compared to other countries or other suppliers. So then again, we went ahead with this 84's MOU on technology transfer, but since then supplies from USA has gone up. But when it comes to technological capacity of India, or when it comes to technological transfer, we haven't seen any sort of big thing. So it's more bark and no bite when it comes to this MOU. The other thing is in terms of international trade as well. We know very well how Mr. Trump is trying to deal with other countries, right? They want us to purchase their items. When we try to sell them something, then they are saying big no. Trump administration is also having a very narrow focus on global affairs as well as global trade, because in today's interconnected world, supply chains are aligned with each other. We are buying something from Russia, we are adding some bits on it, and we are adding value to it, and then these items are being supplied to different parts of the world and in USA as well. So it's not that purely items are produced in our country, or as a matter of fact with any other country, right? This is the same thing. So they have a very narrow business approach as well. Now this CAATSA, you know that CAATSA stands for this Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. So you have Russia, Iran, and North Korea. These are the three countries. If you purchase something from, or if you are going ahead with a deal with these three countries, then Russia will apply sanctions on us, so, or any other country, any other friendly country of USA. But now the thing is, this law is not a law of United Nations, it is a law of USA. We have never came out, we don't come out with this sort of law that if you are dealing with Pakistan, then we are. So here we can also see that USA is trying to throw its weight on us. Now there are some negative, we have discussed about some negative points about USA. There is one positive point that we cannot ignore, and this makes it a bit difficult for us as well, to decide which way to go, because USA is a global power. Of course, USA is a very rich country as well. It's a consuming country, consumer country, so demand of various products and services are always there. Its economical size is also big compared to Russia. Russia is a smaller economy, smaller than our economy. Its population is shrinking as well, so it's going to be more, one-side trade, that we will be purchasing more from Russia rather than we selling items to Russia. So this is a thing that we cannot ignore. But there are a few positive points in favor of Russia, like Russia has this incredible natural resources, military technology and other things. Then you have this India's regional interest in South Asia, right? The USA is not inclined that much when it comes to South Asia. It is interested more in looking after its own back. Third thing is that if we isolate Russia, then it's going to be more tilted towards Beijing, which is not in our interest. Fourth is that if we want to create our importance in Eurasian portion, yesterday I gave you the Central Asian portion. Part of this Central Asia is also part of this Eurasian landmass. So if we want to increase our role here, then we need partnership of Russia. So these are four predominant points in favor of Russia. Apart from that, they have always supplied tanks and frigates and aircrafts and other ballistic missiles and submarines. And I can go on and on. There is a long list. BrahMos missile program is a joint program of India and Russia. So we cannot ignore this historical as well as important partnership. In future, we would require nuclear attack submarines, hypersonic technology. Either we can develop all these things, that is going to take a bit of time, or we can easily get it from Russia. So we cannot ignore this thing as well. We cannot wait for USA to supply all these things to us. So at present, in terms of money, in terms of strategic and defense requirement, Russia is our best option. Right, and there are chances as well that in future this animosity between Russia and USA may come down, because Trump has been in the forefront of those seeking to normalize ties with Moscow. If this Ukraine deal is signed, and if everything gets all right with this Ukraine deal, then Russia and USA can, they will never become best buddies. That's what it looks. When I say never, I mean to say in medium term or in long term. But after 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you'd never know, right? So anything is possible in geopolitics. But for now, right, for Russia, China, for America, China is a big threat. And to isolate China, it is important for America to get Russia on its side, and there are chances that it can develop good relationship with America. But one thing that we have to keep in mind, that we are autonomous sovereign nation, right? Our strategic autonomy is dear to us, and we are capable to handle independent relationship with all these three powers, that is China, Russia and USA, and we should stick with our strategic autonomy. With this, dear friends, moving on to news item. Vice President of our country, Mr. Naidu, released autobiography called Enadu Poratam on Maposi. Maposi stands for Milapur Ponusami Sivagnanam. This gentleman here, he was a freedom fighter, a learned scholar of Tamil Nadu or Tamil literature, a great leader who forged a new identity for Tamil Nadu, Tamil language as well as Tamil culture. He made he played a very important role in in spreading this epic throughout Tamil Nadu. It's called Silapatti Karam, and he has also highlighted. He composed this book in which we find the role of Tamil Nadu in nationalistic movements of our country. In terms of culture, he promoted this tagline called Tamil everywhere, Tamil everything. So he was heavily promoting Tamil Nadu's culture. And one thing that we have to keep in mind is that the Vice President has termed him as universal leader. And the reason why he is universal leader, Maposi, is because he did not discriminate between people based on anything, right? Be it religion or caste or creed. So in this way, he is truly a leader of India as well as universal leader. He was promoting Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and he was not supporting any sort of discrimination. So that's the role played by Maposi, and there are high chances. You have this thing in your syllabus, role played by important leaders in unification of India as well as harmony in India and culture of India as well as nationalistic movement and things like that. So I believe This is a very important topic here. Now, World Egg Day was celebrated yesterday. Basically, second Friday of October every year is celebrated as World Egg Day by International Egg Commission. The main aim here is to raise awareness about the nutritional benefits of egg. In terms of if we see India and eggs, then India is third highest producer of eggs in the world, but the per capita availability is around 69 eggs per person per year. So here we are a bit short. We need to increase this per capita availability. At the same time, egg is a high value protein source. It provides variety of other nutrients like vitamins, essential amino acids and minerals and other things. With this, Prime Minister Modi appreciated this role played by National Human Rights Commission. 25th anniversary of NHRC was celebrated yesterday, and Prime Minister also said that NHRC has acted as a voice of the weaker sections as well as played a very important role in nation building. Now, dear friends, do find out some basic things. This is your homework, right? Or self-study that you have to do a little bit by yourself as well. So NHRC have, when it was constituted, who are the people who are in the top position. When I say people, I mean to say how they are appointed and things like that, and role and objective of NHRC. And why it was so a little bit 10-15 minutes research is going to be more than enough. It's very important that you do this self-study. Now, Me Too India movement is picking up its pace as well as its spread in our country, and the Ministry of Women and Child Development has decided that it is going to set up a committee of senior judicial as well as legal persons as a member to examine the issues associated with this Me Too India, or basically going through this, this cases of sexual harassment at workplaces. Menka Gandhiji has said that zero tolerance policy will be applied if any person is found, conducting in this sort of things or sexually harassing women at workplace. And she has also urged working women across all sectors to come out fearlessly and report cases of any form of sexual harassment. Our External Affairs Minister was in Tajikistan in Dushanbe for SCO meeting of Council of Heads of Government, and terrorism was highlighted by us. We have said that terrorism remains the most overwhelming threat, the biggest threat for development and prosperity. Something similar was highlighted by our Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. She is in France, Paris, and she was addressing Institute of Strategic Research, and she has talked about terrorism as well as terrorism particularly in our neighborhood. President of India was addressing 13th annual convention of Central Information Commission, CIC again, right? The homework that you are going to do with NHRC, you got to do the same thing with this Central Information Commission. And Central Information Commission plays a very important role in nurturing this social contract of trust between citizens and state, right? Because it deals with this right to information. Information is knowledge. Information leads to knowledge, knowledge to wisdom, and based on this thing, the whole society gets a sort of upliftment. So here, CIC plays a very important role, and I have three vocabs for you guys: ominous, sheet anchor, and peremptory. Right, these are the three words. You have to find meaning, and you have to provide the answer of or basically meanings of these three words in the comment section. This is for your you can say boosting your terminology as well as boosting your vocabulary. And here on your screen you can see this map here. So what do you understand by what this red circles are trying to highlight? What's the meaning of this red circles? This is your question. Tomorrow is Sunday, so there will be no PIB analysis tomorrow, but now I will meet you on Monday. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Do share this lecture with other students. Jai Hind.